Hey, this is Ted Vieira. No, I'm just kidding, guys. All right, no, seriously. Um, Hopefully that was funny. Maybe if Ted watches, that would be pretty funny. Quick video. I wanted to talk to you guys about Ilford PANF Plus or PANF Plus 50, PANF50, different names for it. I shot a roll of it. You can see they actually changed the box design. Like it used to be all white. Now they have black. I just random observation. But I shot some on my Bronica over here in medium format 120 over a year ago. At least, I think it was 2 summers back maybe. And wasn't super keen on it. I mean, part of it was the lighting, but honestly, the lighting in when I shot this last roll through my F100 was pretty similar as far as being, bright summer day light. But something happened. Sure, it was just the light was just too harsh. Or when I shot at 120, I just wasn't too happy with it. I have some pictures. Maybe I'll throw up a couple of them. If you see some, not non 3:2 aspect ratio pictures, or maybe I'll put a little note on them. I'll show you some examples. But it was just really too much contrast, basically, and I just wasn't super happy. And I actually did the what do they call it? The super scan from the darkroom when I had those developed. And, they're really big files, but I just was expecting super clinical, sharp, awesomeness. And I don't know, something about it just didn't blow my mind. I actually have a print here I may try to pull up in a moment that I did of probably not actually, it's of my car that I took a picture of. But I don't know, I just wasn't keen on it and kind of had thrown out the concept of it. Something was making me think about it again, and I bought one roll a little while back, decided to use it finally, and I actually just took my son out to Cars and Coffee one morning. This is still the summertime. This was just some weeks ago, back in June, and took him in the morning, and it was pretty sunny. It wasn't like a soft light really. It was already pretty harsh light in the morning around like 8 a.m. And the photos actually came out really cool. I kind of wish I had finished the roll there. I had 8 or 10 or less exposures of the roll 36 left that I just kind of shot some random stuff like I often do around the house and backyard. Or actually, sorry, not around the house. It's 50 ISO film. It's not going to work. But I finished it and was like, man, I should have got more shots because all of the shots of the cars looked really cool. The contrast was awesome. The sharpness was awesome. I was just totally happy with it. And it made me go, maybe it was user error, something. I got to give this film another shot. And I've honestly been, as you can see here, thinking about Ilford a lot. I was watching some of their videos and their process and, shoots with Coops. I was watching some of his videos and I was like, man, it is really cool. And I started my film journey back in high school in the late 90s shooting HP5. That was what my film class in high school shot. Shout out to Mr. Schwerin. I think he's retired at this point, but they probably don't do film photography anymore. And it was what I knew, and it's a good film. Obviously, people love it. I don't know if I would say it was my favorite. I just it was a good film. It was versatile, did a lot, and I know it, and I appreciate it. I shoot from time to time. I haven't shot some in a while, but I realized, hey, I haven't. There's all this other stuff. We got Delta 3200 and Delta 400 and Delta 100 and FP4 Plus, which is a 125 ISO film, and then the PANF50 that I like. They got a lot, and there's other stuff obviously, but this is most of it. And I was like, man, I gotta shoot some more of their film stocks, check some of this out. But I'm gonna do that. But for now, what kind of started all of this was PANF50 and 135, which is surprising because I don't know, I'm almost like I'm not digging the 35 millimeter as much anymore. There's just, whenever I get the scans back from the Bronica, the 120 film, the 645, it's just, obviously such a big negative in comparison, and this isn't even that big. I know, everyone's like, oh, you got to do 6.7. I'm like, all right, these film cameras just keep getting more and more expensive. I'm not so keen on that. Those Pentax 6.7 2s are crazy money now. But This kind of made me rethink it, because the detail for 35 millimeter with this film is pretty insane. Like, I know Ektar 100 for color negative is supposed to be, the finest grain according to Kodak. It's nice, and I love the colors of Ektar 100, but like the detail doesn't blow my mind. It's probably sharper than like, Ultramax 400, but I would say Kodak Gold 200 gives it a run for its money. I think that's a really good film that seems to have a lot of detail. And then, probably Portra 160 is sharper, but that's a whole nother conversation. But this stuff is crazy. Like, these pictures of their cars. So if you're not into cars, like, you're going to maybe just skip the rest of the end of the video where I show some images. But I don't know, man. The detail, I sound like Ted Vieira again. I don't know, man. But the detail is just awesome, and it totally got me into it. So I got 3 more rolls of 135, 35 millimeter, and then I'm gonna give 120 a chance. I'm not so sure what I'm gonna do with this, because if I shoot in bright summer daylight again with the Bronica, that's where I went wrong last time. At least as far as I wasn't happy with the results. And again, I'll at least throw up some pictures, maybe another one right now. But it just, I don't know, it didn't do it for me. There was something off about it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I was overexposing it intentionally, thinking I needed to. Everyone's always like, oh, you're supposed for the shadows, whatnot, what you do. But I don't know, I wasn't doing it for me. And wasn't happy with it. So I don't want to do that necessarily, but if I wait till we get an overcast day, which isn't going to happen anytime soon, it's still summer, it's f4 lens with 120, with a 50 ISO film. It's like, I'm not going to do it. I won't be able to get anything with that. I mean, I guess I could do some landscapes with a tripod, but it's too slow. What I was shooting with the F100 was the 24 millimeter 2.8D, and I had it at 2.8, I think, for basically every shot. I think there were a few where I stopped down maybe to F4 at the most, but like, this is the kind of light where when you're shooting 200, 400 film, you're stopping down to F8 and, maybe more, and getting deep depth of field. That wasn't what I was going for anyway. And honestly, with the 24 millimeter, the depth of field is pretty deep anyway. But with the 50 ISO, like, you gotta shoot wide open. So this is a 2.8. I'm down 1 full stop with the F4 on this. And then if I'm talking about shooting in, maybe slightly overcast with a, a little bit of softer light, no bueno. So I don't know what I'll do. Maybe I saw an interesting video where a guy took like a 30-year-old roll of this stuff and was doing like studio shots of some roses to compare how super expired PANF50 had different packaging back then. I don't know if you've seen that video. It's out on YouTube. Maybe I'll do something like that with a flash, take some pictures or something with a flash. But definitely want to do it again. And then I'm very curious about Delta 3200, because I like the P3200 Kodak film, and it's pretty good. Never shot Delta 400, 100, so just curious, especially Delta 400, how does that compare to HP5? I want to find out for myself. And then, again, watching YouTube videos, which is fun, but kind of problematic because it costs money. It costs you money when you go and buy a bunch of film. But FP4, I saw some hardcore enthusiasm about it, so I'm going to give that a shot. But yeah, you got to shoot this PANF50 Plus if you haven't. I'm not obviously the first or last person who's going to say this, but this is a really cool film. You just got to work with the ISO 50, and I don't know, people say it's truly a 25 ISO film, and if you look at the canister, there's actually a little grid of 3 boxes with a 25, a 50, and a blank. I think that might lend to that concept, and maybe it really is 25, but I was, using my F100 matrix metering, and I had it set at the DX coding, so it was reading the 50, and I let the camera expose for me. I may have done, I think I did a little bit of exposure comp on like a couple shots, just because there was something going on with the sun bouncing off a glass or something, that I was a little bit concerned that it might throw the meter. But one, matrix meters, Nikons are really good, but also it seems like it holds up, so I didn't need to go too hardcore with like exposure for the shadows and whatnot. Anyway, it's a little bit maybe too much of a ramble there, but get out there and try this film. I think you'll appreciate it. Thanks, guys.